This is how I feel. Sometimes it goes bad. Baby, we try. Yeah, yeah. That's the line you said when you broke my heart. Yeah. Sometimes it goes bad. Baby, we try. Yeah, yeah. That's the line you said when you broke my heart. You lied to me when you said it was us forever. I cannot explain the situation either. I know it's fucked up how we ended, but I'm seeking closure. You left your mark on me, girl, all I do is think about you. How was I supposed to know?
Hi guys, so at the end of the last video I told you we'd do a bit of a Q&A. So you sent all your questions in, thank you for all the questions, there was loads, so I've picked out a few of the best and I've managed to get Steve to join in because there was a lot of questions around the fab work, so he's taken some time out of your day to join us and answer some of the questions.
It's going on your bill.
Of course.
Definitely going on your bill.
Okay mate, in at number one, what weld did you use?
Stick.
Stick,
On some car batteries.
yeah. It's worked well.
Yeah, it's done well. I'm getting quite good at it now. Photoshop's working. No, I use Silva Super MIG. It's nothing special or anything. It's probably nearly 18 years old. It's been my old trusty. I've tried other brands and I've always gone back to the old Sealy. I've since picked up, I'm about a year into owning an Artec TIG welder now. I am still learning TIG, but I'm more 100% confident on the MIG. So yeah, as you'll see some pictures in a minute, you will see the old beaten up, old trusty.
You were doing wrong. I was over here not knowing what was going on. I didn't think you had it in you to deceive me. I found peace in myself seeing you and him, 'cause I know.
Okay, so in next we've got Sega Genesis or Super Nintendo. Now for me, I was a Sega Mega Drive boy. I was Sonic through and through, right from the start. By yourself?
I had a rough childhood. I went allowed games consoles. I grew up in the workshop. Then when my father got me a PlayStation 1, I swapped it for an oil cooler. And I think that was the proudest day of his life. But I rock a Sega in the shop now.
Seen the light, seen the light. So, the second part of the question was what car / driver inspired you guys most for this build? For me, I, much to Steve's hatred, used to be a Volkswagen bummer through and through. Went to my first Japanese car show down at Santa Pod. Saw a car by a guy called Ryan Springle, white S15. You probably know it if you're following this build. Huge big wing on the back, RB in the front, straight to Steve's delight. Saw that, chatted to the guy, had a look around it, loved it, got home. Sold all my worldly possessions, including the dog, all went, and I bought a rusty Nissan, and that was the start for me, really. And from there, it's just grown as the project's grown, really. For me, it hasn't really taken shape around anyone else's build. It's what's been right for the car, for how rusty the car was, how bent the car was, and making it right and making it usable, saving one, to be fair. What about you? What about yourself? Have you taken any inspiration from other stuff?
Mine will have to be Nigel from Engineered Slide with the Hilux he built. That was the main car, from the fact that he had no background. He took from nothing to building what he has now. And, well, you've only got to follow his work and know that he's ahead of his game. And that's my biggest inspiration, is trying to follow his work, his neatness, his detail work. Literally, I'd love to follow in his footsteps. I'm not on that level. I never will be. He is ahead of it.
It goes bad. Baby, we try. Yeah, yeah. That's the line you said when you broke my heart. Yeah. Sometimes it goes bad. Baby, we try. Yeah, yeah. That's the line you said when you broke my heart.
Okay, so next question is, what brake horsepower are you hoping to achieve? So it'll please some and not pleased, Steve, but we are staying SR20 or SR at least. That's as much as you're getting out of me. The engine is going away. It's going to Dave Yandel. It's going to get built, hoping to achieve around the 600 brake horsepower mark. So it should be something quite special when it comes back. But I don't want to give away too many details yet until it's down with Dave, and we'll start do some nice vlogs on that while it's down there. Would you do any of the build differently?
Yeah, I wish I'd never opened that bloody message. Honestly, worst mistake of my life. You and Mark.
Thanks, yeah. For me, would I do anything differently? I think I've learnt a lot from where the build progressed from, just because it was never meant to be anything as mad as this. So I'd bought parts second hand, I'd bought parts new, which I've not ended up using because they wouldn't have been the quality that the builds ended up at. So I think if I was to do one again, although I don't think I'll ever do one again, I wouldn't.
Not doing another one.
I wouldn't buy the bits straight up. I'd stage by stage plan it out, decide what you're going to do, and stick to your guns. As much as Steve will try and push your buttons for all the right reasons, and we've ended up with a much cooler car. But it's not what we planned originally.
Well, the original quote was a simple tube front. That was it.
That was about it, wasn't it?
Yeah,
It was
metal
coming to you.
wings and a simple tube front, and then it's just progressed, and every day finding issues, finding problems, overcoming, and the more he gets likes on Instagram, the more the car goes wild.
The more I spend.
For the likes.
Okay, so obviously you've given Steve a lot of creative freedom, but also you're paying the bills, and I know you've put ideas forward. What are the things where you've both had to draw the line? When we started originally talking about panelling and how we were going to infill round stuff, I brought Steve some pictures of, again, back to the Volkswagen days, diamonds in the panelling, diamonds in carpets, diamonds in everything.
Really tacky, just horrible.
So I showed him some pictures, and he fought me to the death. He would not do it. So I went away. Next time I came down, he rolled me out a panel. I've never seen such a buckled, bent, unstraight line.
I overswaged it, run it through the rollers, the swager, threw it around the workshop, kicked it, just to make it look terrible, because I was adamant the diamonds were so tacky. But I eat my words. I was 100% wrong on that one.
Yeah, I said, Steve, that's beautiful. If you can just carry that theme through the car. And it's worked, and I think it does suit the car, and it is something different to what you'd normally see in the Jack world. And I hate to say it, but bringing that little Volkswagen influence into parts of the build has made it a different build to what you'd probably see out there.
I've got to remember when I'm given free rein not to just run off and go wild and treat it like my own car, but at the same time, when you kind of draw a blank with your ideas, there is a mix of we just throw everything in the pot, and there is an element of just rolling with it, just looking at other cars, ideas.
Yeah, it worked really well. When we had the issues with the front end,
Yeah.
my only concern was I told you to stop at the roof, which you did. So we still got the original roof, although we did discuss chopping the roof out.
Yeah, there
just
was
for
actually a
people,
discussion
yeah.
about that.
But so I think the partnership, the relationship has grown, and it's worked quite well throughout the build. So as much as there has been tension at times,
Yeah, there's been a lot of abuse and arguments.
it's worked quite well. It has worked quite well.
But no, as for the build, I wouldn't change it. I'm happy with where it is, and I want to see it progress and actually go further and more crazier.
Okay, so this is one that I've been asked literally hundreds of times across the various social media platforms, all the shares that the car's had. How heavy is it?
Truthfully, fucking heavy. Mate, she weighs a ton. Honestly, I'm fed up of pushing it. No, I do chuckle when I see this comment quite a few times, because people instantly assume that because it's tube work, it just must weigh a ton. Most of this tube work is 25mm by 1mm. A 7-foot length of that weighs literally, pick it up with your fingers, it's nothing. All the gussets are 1mm. The only heavy part that's probably gained weight, I will be honest, will be the strut towers and the legs, because the standard towers, they don't weigh a lot, and generally, well, your ones have rotted out, they've gone. But we will be calling a weighter in it, so we will see how she comes back. I'm expecting a little bit more weight, but it ain't ridiculous.
Just remember, there's nothing lighter than a hole.
Rusty's lighter than carbon.
Was Steve also naked and dancing when building this car? For those of you that know, I think that answers the question.
That's
but
my signature.
I think we've got some footage we can cut to for you. Glad to see you're keeping the SR, but why no wide body? Technically the car is a wide body of sorts. It's got running D-Max overs on the clam at the rear, so it'll be about 50mm aside, wider at the rear. Then it's getting a pair of Steve's custom metal wings up the front, which will be roughly 40 to 45mm wider at the front, probably more than 45mm, just so we can get the nice wide wheels. I'm not going to tell you what they are, so we can get the nice wide wheels under the front and under the back.
It just gives you options, doesn't it?
Yeah.
I haven't decided on a style. I'm looking possibly Dulux style. I've already done a pair of them, but we drew it out on the wings and it didn't suit the lines of the car, did it?
Didn't look right.
If I'm honest, I'll be 100% honest on this. I'm just kind of roll with it. I'm just going to get the cardboard out, send him loads of pictures, and just see what works.
Hold my tea.
Hold my tea.
How are you going to explain all the work done when trying to insure it? Standard. Standard?
Brought you like this.
Brought it like this, yeah. Off the market.
Optional extras.
Ticked all the boxes.
Yeah.
And some more.
Every box, please.
Hold, please.
No, with this one, we're going to go down the route of obviously modified insurance, but we're going to have a structural engineer come out and have all the relevant tests. So they're not obviously looking for the mods, they're more looking how the car's being built for the structural report of it, which follows closely the kit car rules and an IVA. Obviously, everything needs to be road legal on this. It's not just a show pony and the trailer queen, it will be on the road. I will guide him with all the rules and how it's the best way to go.
As long as it's dry, it will be on the road.
No rain.
No rain.
No rain.
No rain. You get wet. Too many holes.
Third party, no mods.
Fire and theft. Just wondering, how do you stop the new fab work from rusting? Does it have some kind of seal or clear coat applied?
Yes, it does. Imported Tibetan goat spunk. Right, you get it in jars about this big. Nah, it is all down to workshops. This one, when I took this workshop on and rented it, when I see the landlord, the main thing for me was making sure it wasn't damp, because obviously having all exposed steel, roll cage steel, fab work would just ruin me. I left a bit of steel in the workshop for a week, it was ground clean, and after a week it was still clean. Some of this on here is probably 5-6 months old now, and as you can see, just light surface rust coming. I think what does help is the fact that I've got an insulated workshop with a wooden roof. It draws all the damp and takes it upstairs, so everything I don't like can go up there.
Most of the stuff where it has started to rust, it's where people have touched it, isn't it?
Yeah,
Draws
you're
some
sticking
moisture out
your
your
fingerprints
fingers.
everywhere.
Yeah, I can't help it, mate. I can't help it. What engine do you prefer, RB26 or 2J? SR, every day of the week. Proper built SR.
Peasant spec. His pockets aren't deep enough for a real engine.
Pay your bills.
Yeah, true. For me, it's always going to be an RB. As you can see, there's only RBs in this shop. I've recently just got rid of Mark's 2J out of here. Honestly, I threw a party and run around. I couldn't wait.
It's only because the scrap man wouldn't take it.
Yeah. No, I think I agree, the 2J out of the box is a far superior engine out the box. But the days of the 2J having 600-700 dollars out the box now, they are dying. They're not spring chickens anymore. So if it was a choice of a rebuilt 25, 26 or a rebuilt 2J, I'm always going to be the RB. the sound of them just smashes the 2J to pieces, always.
How do you maintain the body mounting points when doing a tube frame?
Hopes and dreams.
Lives in prayers.
No, very basic, and I mean this when I say basic. Very basic jigs. Obviously, this isn't the S15 one. This is a Skyline 33, 34. Thick repair washers, at least 2mm grade, and stub barring. Nothing special. All you need to do is just make common reference points. So, wing tab, headlight tab, strut tower. This gives you the suspension location. So when I'm doing strut tops, I can put this on to make sure, one, the car's straight, and two, that all positions line up when I'm welding. Now when it comes to the case of Tom's one, I had a body jig already made, and when it come down, we put it on, and it didn't fit, it didn't line up, but I knew the jig was from a known straight car, and that's when we discovered that the car had been in 2 bad crashes and was severely bent, and that was a phone call I didn't like to make. It had just come from Slide. They'd done a lovely job of the cage, they'd done a lovely job of all the seals, and then I come to my first ever phone call to Tom, and I've got to tell him his car's bent on the front chassis legs. It was a painful conversation.
Yeah, I was glad it was sat down, but to be fair, the car wouldn't be what it is now if it hadn't have been for that. No one's going to chop the front end off a perfectly straight, immaculate, no rust car. So you wouldn't see what Steve's created, what we've managed to create, if that hadn't have been the case.
The original was meant to be just to a turret only, like most tube fronts are. We had it jigged by the local body shop I use. They jigged it, it come back straight. I supplied the tube front jig, it fitted on perfectly. But the chassis legs, turrets, they were actually just too far gone to repair. The cost of them to repair and to put them back to standard wasn't worth it. So that's when we had a big discussion, really, wasn't it?
Yeah, if you ever feel like you've wasted money, try letting someone straighten your front legs to then watch him chop them off.
And scrap them.
And scrap them, yeah. That was interesting. What's your favourite style? Doggy is not the correct answer, Steve.
And that's how my dog was due in June.
My favourite style, again, I hate to keep going back to it, but I was Volkswagen through and through, so it's slammed, nice dish, big wheels, not air, got to be static, otherwise I don't know why you're bothering, and just tidy, really, really tidy. Everything's about the little details. The more you look, the more it grows, the better it gets. It doesn't have to be necessarily big and shouty to be cool.
Problem I find with the show scene though is there's too many people, car, air, wheels, and they think they've arrived and that's it. That's the problem for me with show people.
Yeah,
You're
it's
an exception. There are some amazing show cars out there, but look at the majority of the show scene.
And that's what's moved me away from the Volkswagen scene, to be honest. It's too easy to finance a brand new car, finance an air package, finance some nice wheels, show car, done. And
does the bank know you're modifying the car? Yeah.
No. And that is exactly what this was never going to be. It's different. It is different.
I appreciate the style. This isn't my cup of tea. I would have gone full frame on it. I would have gone, at this point, I would have gone the full hog and just chopped every part out and started again. But where do you draw the line of car deemed not roadworthy, show-worthy, that kind of thing? So I think
draw the line in your bank balance, mate. That's where you draw the line.
Yes, my bills love your bank balance.
My bank balance don't love your bills.
My style would definitely be time attack or the higher end, sort of like competition cars. Especially some of the stuff that's coming out of Australia at the minute is next level. It's ridiculous. They're pushing the boundaries with the fabrication, I think. Drifting is also starting to get on the upclimb now. I find the cars in the builds, there's a lot more pride. So whereas your show, I'm more trackside.
Yeah, usable.
Usable.
Yeah. What's the goal for the build?
To get paid, buy some new trousers, have a day off, go on holiday.
For you, maybe, yeah.
Don't give Helen ideas.
No. For me, it's changed. The build's changed so much from buying the car to chopping the front end off. That when I went to view the car, that was never the intention. So
No.
the goal for the build has changed so much from from when I originally purchased the car. I think going forward, I'd personally like to set the goal for me of the car attaining that point where you get invited to the show. You don't have to request, you get invited, you put in the centre spot and you're shown off. For me, that's when the car's made it, and Steve's given me a great base to build from, and for me it's now making sure I finish the little details to the same quality that Steve's put into the fab work.
No, you'll be fine. I think I want to see the car go places, get invited. It's the only car I'm doing like this. I've already said to Tom that this is my last one. I don't want to do this line of work anymore. And it's nothing to the car or the car's pushed me or finished me off. It's my line of work that I'm happy with is restoration. I get more satisfaction out of doing rust repairs back to people don't even know they're being touched. There's a big headache factor to it. And I said I'd go out and do one final one, and this is the one. Tom's giving me free rein and I'm allowed to push on it. And I just want to see where it goes.
Yeah, thank you for your time.
This is how I feel. Sometimes it goes bad. Baby, we try. Yeah, yeah. That's the line you said when you broke my heart. Yeah. Sometimes it goes bad. Baby, we try. Yeah, yeah. That's the line you said when you broke my heart. You lied to me when you said it was us forever. I cannot explain the situation either. I know it's fucked up how we ended, but I'm seeking closure. You left your mark on me, girl, all I do is think about you. How was I supposed to know that you would do me wrong? I was over here not knowing what was going on. I didn't think you had it in you to deceive me. I found peace in myself, seeing you and him. Cause I know sometimes it goes bad. Baby, we try. Yeah, yeah. That's the line you said when you broke my heart. Yeah.
Okay guys, that's all the questions. Thanks for watching. I hope it answered some of the stuff that you've asked. A little bit more detail on the car and a little bit about both myself and Steve as well. Obviously the car's going to continue to progress. The fab work's coming to a close now with yourself.
But I'm back on it full time now.
Hopefully, if you like what you see, hit like, hit subscribe, throw some comments in. If we get a really good response, we can wrap up your questions in a final fabrication Q&A on the way out. Other than that, there'll be some more build episodes coming out in the foreseeable future.
Time lapse.
Some nice time-lapse stuff as well for you, Steve working and me watching.
I think if I read on Instagram, people want tips and stuff like that.
Yeah.
So I might start doing some footage for Tom of swaging, basic marking out, that kind of thing. Not going to go into proper in-depth detail, boring you with joints and stuff, but basics that might help you out.
So thank you guys. Don't forget to hit subscribe and press the bell.
Helen, Billy an hour.